Winter walk. Deep snow had fallen overnight and the morning broke clear and cold. I lingered at the kitchen table with an extra cup of coffee as I watched the light shift and the sun come up. Sunrise in deep winter, with its bright pinks and streaks of yellow, felt like an affirmation from Mother Nature herself. Yes, the days are short, and the landscape coated in shades of white and gray, but the skies are vibrant. There is vibrant life in the thickest days of winter. With the sun up, I opened all the curtains and let it slant into the rooms of my house. We hadn't seen much sun in a while, and I began my morning chores, and I found myself stopping to look out and take a few deep breaths. Someone told me years ago that you get a better night's sleep in a bed that has been made. Something about the feeling of tidiness and order that helps you drift off. So I made a habit of it. It had become kind of a morning meditation. I did it the same way each time, and it took care of the process. I stacked the pillows on the armchair with a little ottoman in front of my bedroom window, where I sit and read. And I pulled back the duvet and the sheets, smoothed out the sheet underneath, and pulled the blankets up, walking around the bed and refolding and tucking in the edges, then shaking out the pillows and plumping them back into place. I took a soft plaid pillow that my kitty likes and placed it at the foot of the bed for her. With curtains open and the morning light coming in, the room looked more neat and inviting. I had a morning and afternoon to enjoy, but I was already looking forward to going to bed tonight. With my chores done and the day becoming warm and bright, as it would likely get, I decided to bundle up and take a long walk in the fresh snow. I layered on a sweater and a coat, thick socks and boots, a hat, a scarf and gloves, and then closed the back door behind me. As I began to walk, I looked out at the unbroken drifts of snow, at the peaks of the old evergreens and the bare branches of maples stacked with a foot of snow. Winter walks are slow walks. You make your way carefully, but they give you time for lots of thinking and noticing. Past the edge of the yard, I stepped into a well-worn path into the thicket of woods. I had a few acres in this portion of my land backed more into woods that were public lands, so I could walk for a long time and not run out of trees and wilderness. I remember that winter walks that I took with my family as a child. There was an empty lot at the end of the street, and beyond its fields, clusters of trees. And while the whole thing was probably no bigger than a city block, it felt like a secret land, a place where there was no end of exploring to be done. Children have this power, to look at something simple and everyday and imagine the wondrous. I felt a growing warmth in my belly and chest from the exercise, and I inhaled deep breaths of fresh air, letting it fill my lungs. The familiar path looked new in the thicket of snow, and I took a few turns, intentionally leading myself away from my usual route, knowing I could follow my boot footprints back if I ever got turned around. I followed a frozen creek with just trickles of water moving, and I walked past a thick grove of birch trees, their rippled white bark at home in the white of the winter, to an open meadow. I had a sudden feeling that there was something there to see, so I stood still. She stepped out slowly from the trees across the field. A doe, tall, elegant. I guess she had seen me long before I was aware of her, but she trusted me and let me see her anyway. I was caught by her beauty and stood still and forgot to breathe for a moment. Then I called out, low and calm, "Nice day for a walk." And she wagged her white tail and bent her head to nose through the snow for a bit in a winter browse. I suppose she was glad to see the sun, as I had been this morning, and I reminded myself that we all have the earth in common. I left her to her mill and followed my tracks back into the woods and eventually into my own garden. And I was already thinking my way through the fridge and the pantry mentally in setting the table. I kicked the snow from my boots and stood in the back hall, reversing the process that had started this morning's adventure. I went into my room and changed the snowy layers for warm, fresh ones, and found Kitty curled in her spot on the bed. She turned her chin up and let out a soft meow. I curled up next to her and told her about the deer that I had seen in the open field. I told her she was probably back in her den by now, nestled with her friends, and Kitty purred. It was good to go out into the woods and walk and remember the fresh air. Then it was good to retrace my steps and tuck back into the warmth and comfort of home. The winter wasn't over yet, but the sun was out, and there was much to enjoy while we waited for spring.